So as many people who watch this channel might know, these types of videos are my low effort responses to the low effort bullshit political grifty propaganda crap that I see out there in the world, and it's I try not to focus too much on any one person versus another, but I really just cannot help myself. Some of them are vastly more entertaining to watch and bitch about. I think, like, for instance, the quartering is an insufferable asshole, but he's also incredibly boring. I don't know how people unironically watch his videos. I don't understand, but whatever. Like, it's fine. People can have whatever taste they want. However, I find so much enjoyment out of watching and bitching about Lauren Chen and Tim Pool videos that I think they're the ones that I end up kind of defaulting to. Recently, this is a little segue into this, just has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but yeah, just a reminder that what I do on this channel is exactly zero fucking effort. It's just for me to vent. This is all about Ethan Klein blasting Joe Rogan as an uninformed hypocrite, blah, 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 blah. And rather than me going through it, I'm going to let Lauren go through it, and we'll see how good of a take she has.
Hey, Lauren here. Let's
hey.
talk about manufacturing scientific consensus and Joe Rogan once again being accused of spreading misinformation. So today's tale starts off with one Dr. Robert Malone, who is a very accomplished physician and researcher. According to Dr. Malone's own website, he is, quote, an internationally recognized scientist / physician and the original inventor of mRNA, let's just call them jabs, as a technology.
That's a lie. He is not the original inventor of mRNA vaccines, which I don't understand why all of these people are so afraid to say the word vaccine. The thing is, actually, you know what? I think I finally figured it out. They have this idea of, like, I'm going to get demonetized or the video is going to be suppressed if I talk about vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. That's not why they do it. That's not why they do it. I'm convinced now. I'm 100% convinced they know that that's not what's going to impact it at all. But they are intentionally doing that as a means to try and make you think that it's being suppressed or it's... I think this is a fucking tactic. Anyway, Robert Malone is not the original inventor of mRNA vaccines. He worked on it, yes. But to say that he's the inventor would be like the guy who came up with the idea for the turning knob that changes the angle of the mirror, your side mirrors, is the inventor of the fucking car. I'm sorry, but he is not in any fucking realm of imagination the inventor of mRNA. He has been, and he's not wrong. He is internationally recognized as an asshole who keeps claiming that, and people who have helped do this whole technology. There's not one person who made the mRNA vaccines, are repeatedly saying, like, dude, we all worked on it. Like, what are you fucking doing? Why are you being such an asshole? Malone is an asshole, dude. He's a piece of shit.
DNA jabs and multiple non-viral DNA and RNA/mRNA platform delivery technologies, and he also holds numerous fundamental domestic and foreign patents in the fields of gene delivery, delivery formulations, and jabs. He also has approximately 100 scientific publications with over 12,000 citations.
Depending on how many years he's been working as a researcher, 100 scientific publications is not actually as much as you would think. It wouldn't be bad for somebody who's been in it for, like, say, 8 or 9 years or so, you know? But, like, if that's what you predominantly do, you'd have a lot more. But whatever. Is Malone also an AIDS denialist? I don't know. But he is an anti-vaxxer.
Now, as someone who studied political science, admittedly, none of that means a whole lot to me, but the reason why I bring
big words are hard. Shut up. Come on.
That up isn't really to default onto credentialism, but rather to illustrate that this guy is not just someone crazy off the side of the streets. He is an accomplished researcher in his field. And
Andrew Wakefield was a fucking doctor, a gastroenterologist, before he became the granddaddy of the fucking anti-vax movement. It means absolutely nothing. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Incidentally, and relevant to this story, Dr. Malone is also someone who has been openly skeptic of current pharmaceutical products being offered by the likes of Pfizer and Moderna. And in fact, Dr. Malone has been so outspokenly skeptical of not only potential side effects, but also coercive measures that have been put in place to encourage people to take these pharmaceutical products.
Yeah, he's an anti-vaxxer. We caught on to that. Yeah, he's an anti-vaxxer. He increases the moral panic of the anti-vax talking points. And, well, what about the side effects? Well, we do actually have good data on the side effects, and they're very, very small, and you're much safer if you get vaccinated. Yeah, but what about the side effects? I'm just asking questions. Fucking shut the fuck up. So many cuts. Oh, I know. Yeah. Lauren doesn't really have very much talent in like the one take sort of fucking thing. Yeah, it's all very beep 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 beep.
That actually Twitter ended up suspending him permanently from the platform. Now, we don't exactly know which specific tweet got Dr. Malone in trouble, but overall, the reason why he was banned was for spreading misinformation or encouraging jab hesitancy. And Dr. Malone being banned from the platform was pretty big news. I remember the day it happened, I saw it trending because, again, he is not just some random person, he is someone who is well-known and well-respected in medicine. And yet here's Twitter accusing this doctor of spreading—
He is not respected and well-known in medicine. In the academic field, he's well-known as being an asshole who pretends that he is more important than he is. And now he's known as an anti-vaxxer. Like this idea... This is one of the things that drives me crazy about anti-vaxxers. And don't get me wrong, like straight up, Lauren Chen, she is, right now, she's an anti-vaxxer. She's an anti-vaxxer. Congratulations, you did it. You somehow managed to become actually fucking dumber. Way to fucking go. COVID anti-vax, not general anti-vax, doesn't matter. Same fucking thing. Same fucking thing. It serves the exact same end goal. 100%. There is functionally no difference anymore. None. Like, the thing is, when people say things like, I'm not against all vaccines, I am against the COVID vaccine, they might be telling the truth. But the people who are directing and intentionally trying to push this in that direction do not want that distinction ultimately to be what people default to. That is the gateway by which they are going to lead you to general vaccine hesitancy. That's the point. That's 100% the point. That is what they're trying to do. And you can see them do it in real fucking time. And like, it's not hard to see either because, like, so many different people who have done, who've started to flirt with this sort of thing now talk to open anti-vaxxers like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Jimmy fucking Dore, of all people, is like sucking Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s jittery dick. Okay? That's really mean. But, like, oh, referring to your family. No. Yeah. No, for sure. I'm just like, that's a really important thing to bring up, though, is, like, this is what they are trying to do.
Misinformation, and it's like, who are you, Twitter? You are not the arbiter of truth. But his story really started—
They are on their platform. If you don't like it, don't be on the platform. Oh, well.
Blowing up once he was featured on the Joe Rogan podcast, the largest podcast on the planet. And predictably, on the podcast, when he was talking to Joe Rogan, Dr. Malone shared more of his controversial views about the jab. And keep in mind, this is someone who himself has gotten it. But if you ask me, he is someone who is simply just not a fan of the government encroachments onto civil liberties that have happened as a result of this whole pandemic.
Neither am I. Is anybody a fan of like the sacrifices we've had to make because of this fucking pandemic? Is anybody happy about that? Nobody's fucking happy about it. It fucking sucks. It's a pandemic. Like, if ever there was a goddamn extenuating circumstance, this would probably be it.
Our government is out of control, and they are lawless. They completely disregard bioethics. They completely disregard the federal common rule. They have broken all the rules that I know of, that I've been trained on for years and years and years. These mandates of an experimental vaccine are explicitly—
experimental vaccine. Yeah.
Illegal. They are explicitly inconsistent with the Nuremberg Code. They're explicitly inconsistent with the Belmont Report. They are flat out illegal and they don't care.
Like pretty much every single Joe Rogan podcast, this episode with Dr. Malone has been extremely popular. And
yeah, it's a Joe Rogan podcast. And he has found a huge boost in his ratings now that he is just platforming anti-vaxxers like crazy. Yeah.
as is the case with pretty much every single Joe Rogan podcast, the episode with Dr. Malone has been very popular. Millions of people have listened to it so far, which the mainstream media has taken issue with because honestly, these are two men who are discussing ideas that they do not want disseminated. When discussing the podcast episode, Forbes accused Dr. Malone of making unfounded claims. And the
Wait. No. Hang on. Back that up. Malone began talking about his background and then COVID vaccine before segueing to Nazi Germany, because he doesn't talk about Nazi Germany when talking about COVID these days, right? Some politicians and TV personalities have been putting the two topics together like cereal and water or forks and power outlets. 100%. Absolutely. You see, the government attempting to stem the tide of a pandemic is violating the Nuremberg Code, just like the Nazi. Like, fuck, dude, come on. And I'm pissed that Rogan had him on, too. It's irresponsible as fuck. It's shitty. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, but it's still bad. It's still a bad thing.
Episode, Forbes accused Dr. Malone of making unfounded claims, and The Independent referred to the episode as a whole as simply anti. But I repeat, not only...
And see, she's afraid of saying anti-vax. Anti-vax, blah, 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 blah. Why are you so cowardly about this shit? Come on.
Has Dr. Malone received the jab himself, but he was also instrumental in developing the technology that led to this specific jab's creation. So calling him anti in any way, shape, or form, pretty hysterical. And
no, it's not. It's accurate. He's an anti-vaxxer. Robert Malone is a fucking anti-vaxxer. He has gotten so pissed off over the years because he won't get everybody to suck his dick for the non-truth that he invented mRNA vaccines, that now to find some kind of actual relevancy, he is the new darling of the anti-vax movement. Like, this is not hard. This isn't calculus, okay? Joe Rogan is super anti-vax. I think he is. I really, really legitimately think he is. And it sucks too, because you gotta understand, I've never really thought Joe Rogan was like an intellectual heavyweight. Never. But I did enjoy his show. He had on some really interesting people sometimes. Sometimes some people that I didn't like. And it was interesting. But we're in a fucking pandemic. We're in very specific, spooky fucking times. And he's putting people on that are helping to make it worse. That's fucked up.
As you guys will know, if you follow Joe Rogan, as so many people worldwide do, this is not the first time that Rogan has spoken with a heterodox doctor on his show specifically about these pharmaceutical products and the pandemic in general. Previously, he also had Dr. Peter McCullough on.
Our local medical schools should have all had early treatment updates once a month. Come on. The medical centers are facing their Super Bowl. Do you know today in America, we have 300 medical schools? Harvard, Yale, Johns Hopkins. Do you know not a single hospital has their own unique protocol to treat COVID-19? They don't have a single original idea. Do you know that none of those organizations, Joe, have ever treated a COVID patient to prevent hospitalization and death? They don't have a single idea how to treat teen patients outside the hospital. Suddenly.
Okay. How to treat them before they go into the... What the fuck, dude? If I'm not mistaken, I think this is one of the dudes that was trying to push ivermectin, was it? I can't remember. I can't fucking remember.
Our best and our brightest are out of intellectual ammo.
And back when that episode aired, as is just the pattern now, Rogan and his guests were once more smeared as just conspiracy theories, anti-vax, you name it. Here's the thing though, anytime you read an article talking about the likes of Dr. Malone or Dr. McCullough, the people who are writing these articles 9 times out of 10 aren't scientists or physicians themselves, they're merely reporters or journalists. And obviously,
there are plenty of people, let's see, there's a word for the, so there's plenty of people who have relevant experience in this field, are actively working in this field, and they disagree with these men. And it's the scientific, what's it called? The consensus. The fucking everybody. This is why it's so fucking frustrating. This is why they do it, why they turn these doctors, these anti-vaxxer doctors, into celebrities, is to try and give them more weight than everybody else. For every single Peter McCullough or Robert Malone, there are tens of thousands of people with just as much credentials as them that disagree. They aren't going on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan is not inviting them. I like, it's so fucking bananas. So fucking bananas.
Obviously, anyone can comment on current events, so I'm not saying you need to be a doctor to write about medical issues. But a trend I noticed in these articles is that instead of trying to explain themselves why Dr. Malone or Dr. McCullough are wrong, so often these writers simply default to they are going against scientific consensus, therefore they are clearly crackpots. And we have more to talk about, but before we do, I want to say a huge, big, whopping thank you to today's sponsor.
Fuck off. Okay. Before we skip ahead into the next part of this video, if you want good, concise rebuttals, look up Dr. David Gorski or Gideon the Health Nerd. These are incredibly smart people, and they do write at length, and they do go through the fucking data and exhaustively tear apart these fucking claims. They are huge inspirations to me. And, you know, hi, you know, this person who's like a variety writer said this about Malone, so like there's really no kind of good rebuttal to what he's saying. No, go look at some actual real scientists that write fucking articles about this stuff in their spare time. They are not getting their public image boosted by, you know, appearances on Joe fucking Rogan. Anyway, yeah. Fuck your sponsorship. Let's go.
Things like side effects or how unnecessary it is for absolutely everybody to get the jab when not—
Whoa, hang on. If you're gonna go all fucking anti-vaxxer on me, let's get your full thing.
Dr. McCullough are not the only doctors who have come out warning about things like side effects or how unnecessary it is for absolutely everybody to get the jab when not everybody is at huge risk, and it also doesn't seem like the jab is—
I don't understand how virology works. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, you know, like, if kids aren't really at risk from COVID, then they don't need to be vaccinated. It's not like they could, you know, infect other people. That's impossible. I can't decide whether or not Lauren is actually this fucking stupid or not. When I met her in real life, she did not seem like a dumb person. She didn't. She seemed thoughtful and interesting and earnest, if a bit extremely fucking conservative and kind of weird around her fiance at the time. He was very quiet, very bashful kind of guy. Anyway, but like, I did not expect that she could be dumb, like legitimately dumb. But the idea that not everybody needs to get vaccinated when the actual purpose of vaccination is to make herd immunity to the point where people who can't are still protected. Like, this is not a hard fucking concept. I don't. Oh my God.
was very effective in doing things like stopping transmission. There are absolutely doctors and scientists—
Wait. Did she just like—
side effects or how unnecessary it is for absolutely everybody to get the jab when not everybody is at huge risk, and it also doesn't seem like the jab is very effective in doing things like stopping transmission.
Yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is. It is good at halting transmission. This is an oft-repeated fucking lie based on evidence that shows that if you are vaccinated and you do contract COVID, you can still technically give COVID to somebody else. Vaccines aren't fucking force fields. It's going to help you fight it off faster, which means that you will be at less risk of infecting other people because you won't be sick as long. And it is also not going to have as much of a chance to fucking mutate. Like, how is this hard? How in the fuck is this hard?
There are absolutely doctors and scientists who believe these things and who want to talk more about things like therapeutic treatments instead of just giving everyone the jab. But anytime they come forward, they are silenced by big tech. And not only that, but they are smeared, and sometimes they're even threatened with having their license to practice revoked. And
yeah, well, yeah, if you're an anti-vaxxer, you shouldn't be legally allowed to practice medicine. Yeah, 100%. I feel the same way about doctors who are anti-vax as I do drivers who are drunks. What's the fucking difference, dude? You've shown that you can't act responsibly. Like, no, dude. Sorry. You know, like, fucking... Swear to God, man. All right, so anyway.
So it's not really that there's scientific consensus that we are handling the pandemic correctly by making everybody take these jabs and just, boosters on boosters and boosters. It's merely that we've silenced anyone who questions that.
Oh, they're silenced. They're silenced. They're silenced by going on the largest podcast in the world that has bigger viewership than every single Fox News show. Wow, they're so silenced, Lauren. Oh my God, they're silenced, Lauren. What in the fuck are you talking about? What? Holy shit. Oh no, they're not on Twitter. Guess they better go on Joe Rogan and be watched by fucking millions and millions and millions of people. Wow, dang. My fucking brain is going to goddamn explode. What the fuck, dude?
And those two things are not synonymous. And if you ask me, professionals trying to raise concerns based on their knowledge and experience in the field, that's not misinformation. That's simply scientific debate.
It's not scientific debate when they are freely given this platform to go on Joe Rogan, and you don't get anybody pushing back. That's not a debate. That's propaganda. That's a bullhorn to spread lies. And it goes directly against the consensus of everybody else who actually knows what they're fucking talking about. I don't understand how anybody believes this shit. It's so fucking wild to me.
I would say, ironically, the biggest threat of misinformation here is trying to stifle debate and dissent because, that's not really what science is about. That is what propaganda is about.
Wow. Could you be any less self-aware? Could you be any less self-aware? Where's the debate happening, Lauren? Where? The only people I see who actively engage in trying to talk about this are fucking doctors on Twitter desperately trying to tell people how this shit is misinformation and how they have been misled. Like I have to fucking do it too. People do it all the fucking time. It's so crazy. Oh my God.
But of course, the smears against the likes of Dr. Malone and Dr. McCullough will continue, as will the attacks against Joe Rogan merely for posting these people. And I think the reason why they're coming after Joe Rogan specifically and personally so hard is because he has such a huge platform, bigger, by the way, than the likes of CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, as we can tell by ratings. And
what the fuck, dude?
And yet he does not conform to their same narrative or their same worldview. He does not accept the fact that there are simply things he cannot question or cannot talk about. And frankly, the mainstream media hates that because they are the ones who are used to being in control. And actually
I still don't know what the fuck that's even supposed to mean. I really do not understand what the fuck that's supposed to mean. And the thing is, too, like if the mainstream media, what drives me fucking crazy about that whole talking point, where is it? She only had it up for like half a second. When like people on the right are talking about the mainstream media, they strangely enough never point out the fact that Tucker Carlson Tonight, The Five, Hannity, Fox News Primetime, the Ingram Angle, that's all right-wing. That's all right-wing. And that is more than the next biggest one, which is Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, and CNN. What's mainstream media right now? What is the mainstream media? Because if you ask this brainless dumb shit, it's the left and the oppressive elites and the Democrat Party and blah, 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 blah. Hello, what the fuck? Mainstream media. Mainstream media, Fox fucking News. The most mainstream of mainstream media is Fox fucking News. And their highest rated show, Tucker Carlson, is an anti-vaxxer who's also probably vaccinated. I don't understand how the fuck people don't understand this shit. And they just get away with blatantly fucking lying about it.
Joe Rogan, it wasn't just mainstream media outlets who were having their go at him. We also had brain dead left-wing YouTubers doing the same as well. And yeah, I am talking about Ethan Klein. And just a heads up, if you're not familiar with my channel or my videos, it is true I am not a fan of Ethan Klein, so I apologize if I'm going kind of
Her breathy laugh thing that she does all the time is really obnoxious.
Hard against him specifically here, but he grinds my gears. I really don't like him. That being said, though, I will try to hold off on the ad hom attacks because I know that's just not productive.
She doesn't know what ad hom attacks are either. I guarantee you Lauren thinks insults are ad hominems.
But the thing about Ethan Klein is that just overall, as someone who has responded to his Leftovers podcast before, he is simply someone who is very uninformed and yet simultaneously very outspoken. So not only does he not take the time to
It sounds like you, actually.
research topics before forming his opinion on them, but he also, for some reason, has this smugness where he insists that he must be right because his views happen to align with, you know, whatever is mainstream at the time. And in fact, as he was famously quoted as saying specifically in regard to, you know, the pandemic and the CDC, there are just smarter people out there who make the decisions for you, so you don't even need to think about it, bro. So anyway, in light of everything going on right now with Joe Rogan and Dr. Malone, Ethan Klein took it upon himself to go on to Twitter and educate his followers as to what the correct opinion should be. He wrote, Joe Rogan, who lives on elk meat, egg yolk, and human growth hormone with lungs full of tar, thinks he's healthier than everyone. This MFer is such a bitch that when he got the coof, he threw the kitchen sink at it. If you're so healthy, just write it out like you say a man should. This is a perfect—
It's a dumb tweet. I'll be honest. It's a pretty dumb tweet. Oh God, Ethan is still fucking going. That's crazy. Oh damn. Anyway, I'm just looking at this while it's going. Here we go.
Example of what I was talking about, of mainstream media censorship actually spreading misinformation rather than combating it. Because Ethan Klein is clearly someone who does not watch Joe Rogan himself and instead simply takes the media's reporting—
Maybe he does watch him. I don't know. Why would that have anything to do with it anyway? It's, I guess, like mainstream news. Major news outlets have been covering Ethan Klein shitting on Joe Rogan. But what's weird is, like, there's more to what Ethan actually tweeted. Okay, so I pulled up the actual original thread, and this is Ethan's, like, his full thread that he wrote. Because the first one it's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb. Dude has caused so much vaccine hesitancy and misinformation, and he doesn't even have the balls to stand by the shit he preaches. Now he's on his show talking about how fat people should just die of COVID. Dude is such a fucking piece of shit. It's a much better tweet, and honestly, I agree. Joe Rogan is, in many ways, responsible for causing vaccine hesitancy, and it does actually prolong the pandemic. But, like, as I was trying to explain to somebody a couple of days ago, they were like, well, what do you mean by responsible? If, like, holding people to account responsible for anti-vax views, I very specifically said, like, you'll never see an anti-vaxxer being punished, like, really punished, like, not like getting kicked off Twitter or some whiny baby shit like that, but, like, actually punished for the damage and the harm that they could do. But that doesn't mean that they're not still responsible. They're responsible, but they're just probably never going to face, like, real consequences because of it. And we could get into a conversation about freedom of speech, and maybe that's something that we'll talk about in the future. But right now, I don't have the energy for it. The next one is, instead of getting vaccinated, he takes Regeneron, an experimental drug that was developed alongside mRNA vaccines. His logic makes no sense, and then credits ivermectin, which does fucking nothing for COVID. Also very true. 100% true. And with like all these people, like Malone, as Lauren was talking about, Robert Malone, and he's not down with like all the pharmaceutical stuff and the blah, 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 but it doesn't have a problem with Regeneron? Like, and Rogan like said he threw the kitchen sink, like everything he possibly could at it. And then he'll have people on who are like, well, we just don't know necessarily what's in the vaccine or what it could possibly do. And they're fucking taking experimental goddamn drugs just to try and avoid something that has actually been fully studied, and we're learning about it even more and more, and every evidence that we actually find shows that it is safe and it's effective. Now, how effective changes depending on how crazy fucking COVID starts to mutate and shit, but whatever. Not to mention whatever the fuck is in Alpha Brain. Meanwhile, while Joe is on a big pharmacy conspiracy against vaccines, someone needs to ask him who makes ivermectin and Regeneron and all the other shit he took when he had COVID. That's a really interesting one. I remembered, but I have since forgotten. Who made ivermectin? Merck. Merck is one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. But anyway, this one was pretty good. You say I'm unhealthy, yet Joe Rogan, adjusted for outfit, has the same body as me. Interesting. Yep, that's pretty good. I dig that. I really think it's funny I think it's really funny that like there's a ton of people that responded to Ethan criticizing Joe Rogan by bringing up like how Ethan looks, and like who gives a shit? Like, Ethan will whether you like Ethan Klein or not, or H3HA or not, and I'm kind of like, I go back and forth. There's plenty of times that I'm really not down with like Ethan's positions, and there's sometimes I'm like, yeah, he's right. But like Ethan uses his weight and the funny ways that he looks in ways to enhance like the comedy that he's trying to do. And whether you like that or not, or think it's funny, it's something that he's very fully aware of. And it's very strange when people are like, but look how fat Ethan is. Ethan knows. He knows. It's not really the own that you think it is, you know. But last but not least, the last thing I'll add to this before we're just going to call it quits, because I don't want to watch any more of Lauren Chen's shit. She's really obnoxious. Ethan Klein, who has the muscle tone of Flan, actually believes he has the same body as Joe Rogan. How in the world does Lauren not understand that that's a joke? It's a joke, Lauren. It's a joke. It's funny because it's absurd. It's a joke. Anyway, Ethan says ratio plus beta plus intellectual heavyweight. And yeah, that's quite a ratio. Damn. God damn. But yeah, so it's wait, did I have a good pause on this one? I think I did. Boop. Yeah. That's pretty good. I really, it's like with everything else. Anytime I make these videos on you know, obnoxious, grifter, you know, thoughtless, brainless morons, is Lauren this dumb? Or is this doing her job? I don't know. She didn't seem that dumb when I met her in real life. But I cannot for the life of me imagine anybody showing their whole ass like this in order to satisfy a job requirement. I don't think you could pay me that much. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's a number. I'd probably do it. But anyway, yeah, you're embarrassing yourself again, Lauren. And please, conservatives understanding comedy impossible challenge 2022. All right. Bye.